Are you living a wholehearted life? As in, are you living with all of your heart and soul, Um, are you using all of the attributes, all of the skills that you were given to the best of your ability? Are you making the most of your relationships? Are you making the most of who you actually are? And if not, then why the hell not? If you're currently living a life and you feel, that there must be something more to it, well, here are a few suggestions as to what direction you should be going in. Work on acceptance, firstly. So that's acceptance of the self, just as you are, acceptance of others, just the way other people are, and acceptance of reality, acceptance of the world, just exactly the way it is. I mean, ultimately, an awful lot of our suffering is caused by wishing things were different, wishing people were different, wishing we were different, wishing the past had been somehow different, And when we can make peace with the fact that it wasn't and allow ourselves to move forward, we'll feel a lot more content in ourselves. Find a sense of purpose. Find something that drives you forward, that makes you feel like your life exists for a reason. And find your state of flow, find something that gives you peak experiences where you're just so absorbed in what you're doing. You're enjoying it so much. You feel so alive that you don't even notice time going by, and start to take notice of what's going on around you. Try to find awe in everyday stuff, because that's where most of beauty exists. It's mad the way when people are on holidays or they're abroad that they tend to take more notice of their scenery. They take more notice of the beauty around them. The reality is oftentimes that beauty exists right outside of your doorstep. You just have to look that little bit further for it. Get creative. We were all born with potential to be creative in some way, shape, or form, and the more that we utilize these gifts, the better we're going to feel. And unfortunately, in an age of technology, we tend to absorb a lot of our times just mindlessly being on our phones, as opposed to making the most of the gifts and the possibilities that lay within us. So try to do something creative with your time on a daily basis. It doesn't matter what it is. Baking, playing music, singing, writing, whatever it is, just do it. Try to take things in perspective and in context, not everything has to be taken that seriously. You have to have a very realistic, pragmatic approach to life, as opposed to always being egocentric and viewing the world as to how it impacts you. Just take things as they are. Relax a little bit. Work on yourself enough to know what you actually want, as opposed to what the cultural influence is telling you that you want. Develop a sense of autonomy so that the goals that you follow, the goals that you work towards, are actually goals that are going to fulfill you personally, as opposed to get you validation from others. Stop looking for validation to fill you up. I mean, the most simplistic yet content people are usually quite private, and they're quite world-centered. They're not always thinking about themselves. They're not always worried about what other people think of them. They have a few intimate relationships, which are really deep connections, really meaningful interactions, as opposed to 10,000 friends on their social media, and none of which they can actually engage with fully. Try to keep a sense of humour in everything that you do. And practice empathy. I mean, try and see things from other people's perspective as much as possible. That being said as well, try to contribute to society, even if it's just helping one person on a daily basis in a very subtle, private way. I mean, that's what makes the world go round, Our ability to serve others just gives us such a sense of overall well-being. It's worth doing. Enjoy a bit of solitude. I mean, we tend to fill all of our time with some sort of distraction, and it's so important that we're able to sit with ourselves every so often, to just zone into our own thoughts and observe them and detach from all the craziness that's going on in there, and it's important to keep a sense of detachment from our thoughts, from the things that are causing us suffering, and from the things that we think we need in life, to keep a really realistic view of what's important. Create a routine or a discipline that incorporates lifelong learning, meditation, and reflection. And when I say reflection, I don't mean getting bogged down in your past. I mean just looking back, seeing ways that you could have done things better and learning from it, learning from your failures, acknowledging the role that you play in your setbacks, and moving on a better person. Just quiet time for you to make the most of your mind, get in touch with yourself, and to be aware of what it is that you really want and desire from life. So there are just a few ideas on how you can improve the overall feel of your day-to-day life. Try them out, let me know how it goes. And again, if you want any further information, just get in touch on the website at fundamentals.ie or on Instagram or Facebook.